What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including the WWE fans revolt like never before, The Rock gets heavily booed, The Rock push for the WrestleMania 40 main event, his reasoning as to why The Rock vs Reigns is actually happening, Vince McMahon being removed from 2K24, the reaction backstage to all this drama, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. And be sure to check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia Shorts. And now let's do the intro and get straight into the first story. Our first story looks at WWE fans revolt like never before. Well, here we are. Over the weekend, fans have been revolting against WWE's decision to give The Rock Cody Rhodes' spot at WrestleMania, and the revolt is nothing like we've ever seen before. Whilst previous acts of rejection towards the booking decision were severe, this is at a whole different level, and mainstream media outlets including TMZ are now picking up on the story surrounding The Rock, Rhodes, and Roman Reigns. As things stand, WWE's YouTube upload of the now infamous segment involving the three names has over 500,000 dislikes, officially making it the most disliked WWE YouTube video by a considerable margin. All day yesterday, #WeWantCody was trending worldwide, and when WWE uploaded a Best of Cody Rhodes compilation on their YouTube channel, the comments were overwhelmingly in support of Rhodes, whereas The Rock received a ton of hate and backlash. And next up, The Rock did push for his match against Reigns. Thankfully, over the past 24 hours, numerous reports from reputable sources have surfaced that they can offer some much needed insight into what on earth WWE are thinking. The decision to go with The Rock vs Reigns seemingly came out of nowhere. Rhodes won the Royal Rumble last weekend, and he even pointed at Reigns to close out the show. As expected, The Rock vs Reigns was indeed a last-minute call on WWE's part. As PW Insider reports, numerous WWE sources have concurred that the decision to go with The Rock vs Roman Reigns Mania weekend, expected to be officially announced this Thursday in Las Vegas for the Philly event, was a push by The Rock to move into the Mania main event, backed up by top TKO Group holding execs. While WWE had been expertly building to a Cody Rhodes vs Roman Reigns rematch, some sources believe it was done by Johnson to, as one source stated, save WrestleMania, after CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, for very different reasons, were taken off the board from the biggest weekend of the year. In a crazy revelation, it's been reported by two reputable sources that it was The Rock who pushed for the match. As PW Insider adds, others believe that The Rock pushed for the move and likely would have no matter what, given his massive $30 million stock payday is in part contingent on him hitting certain milestones. Sources familiar with the situation believe one of these milestones was Johnson returning to the ring this year, and that Johnson pushed for the match to happen sooner than later, with the idea he felt Reigns vs The Rock was a far bigger attraction for the company. But in WWE, there isn't going to be anyone that's not going to at least consider Dwayne Johnson's ideas. PWInsider.com is told that this wasn't done to target and politic Cody out of his main event out of malice, but out of belief that Johnson was the best idea to make money now and respect his new position with the company's parent company. This was a strategic move to give Johnson more political power overall and to show Endeavor's faith in his involvement, and that even Paul Levesque, who has done an admirable job as chief creative officer, would lose that power struggle with Johnson at this point, as one source surmised. Fightful Select have gone one step further with their report, and they've even suggested The Rock could push for himself to win the featured matchup, which would certainly add fuel to the fire. Next up seems to be the real reason The Rock vs Reigns is happening. One of the first things that fans came to the conclusion of when The Rock returned on Friday was that this could have been done to deter attention away from Vince McMahon's scandal. Fightful Select outright asked one of their sources their stance on the matter, saying, Fightful asked if this move was done in order to take attention or publicity away from the WWE, Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis scandal and lawsuits that were going on. Sources in the know claim that The Rock was actually pushing for this before, but admitted that it could have hurt the process to get any mainstream publicity that was not associated with the scandals. But will The Rock work a full match? There's also concern regarding The Rock's condition heading into WrestleMania 40. The Rock hasn't wrestled a featured match since 2013. Yeah, he wrestled Rowan at WrestleMania 32, but that match featured literally one move. As things stand, The Rock will attempt to work a full-length match according to Fightful Select, but there is no news in relation to whether he plans on continuing to wrestle following WrestleMania 40. Next up, a former name returning to WWE Creative. As is expected when The Rock becomes involved in WWE, former WWE writer Brian Gewirtz returns alongside with him. PW Insider notes that Gewirtz, who is the WWE's head writer during the portion of the Attitude Era, will be in the mix representing The Rock. While he's an incredibly gifted writer, it must be said that The Rock bringing in his own team into the fold already seems like a drastic move, and this is likely a sign that The Rock is going to have a ton of influence over both inside and outside the ring decisions. Next up, The Rock addresses Backlash. In a huge surprise, The Rock took to Twitter this morning to address the backlash to his return, and as expected, the comments are ripping him apart. The Rock's tweet read, "There is a word for this explosive, insane reaction, undeniable. No matter the era, the decade, or the city, the energy and connection between the people's champ and the people can never be broken and is truly an electrifying experience that creates chills every single time. Thank you Birmingham, Alabama, we made magical history in the Magic City. Thank you WWE, and thank you Cody for the love and house, Dream and Soulman. Roman, there's only one head of the table. I'll see you in Vegas, Uso." While it's a positive sign, kind of, that The Rock has addressed the negative feedback, it doesn't look like the WWE are refusing to pivot, and The Rock vs Reigns is still planned for WrestleMania. Even worse is that the fans booed The Rock when they played a clip of The Rock coming out on SmackDown, as the Knoxville fans were really jeering to the idea. And next up, Vince McMahon being removed from WWE 2K24. Now, speaking of the disgraced former WWE chairman, it appears that WWE and 2K are looking at ways to remove McMahon from the upcoming WWE 2K24 release. This news comes from Dave Meltzer, who has said regarding the subject on Wrestling Observer Radio, they're trying to figure out a situation on how to get him out of the video game, which may not be possible, and trying to figure out a way to erase him from history, which is completely impossible. Now, Vince obviously played an integral part of WrestleMania. I mean, he created the damn thing. However, there are some matches, and since there are only 21 matches in the showcase, he can be avoided in some way, but to completely erase him, most likely not. Next up, Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania opponent revealed. So where does this leave Cody Rhodes? Well, for fans who hope that WWE were going to pull a swerve, it doesn't look like that's the case, as PW Insider reports that Rhodes will likely take on Seth Rollins for the world title at WrestleMania 40 in April. The current plan is for him to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40, a direction change that a lot of readers we heard from resent, given that he's been pushing to finish his story all year, that finishing the story was a reach after a Rumble win, and even the 2K24 video game, which Cody is on the cover for, is themed in part around fans finishing their own story. Naturally, this has led to criticism, particularly on social media. Rhodes vs Rollins has come out of nowhere, and despite the two having history from 2022, the feud was settled and they've shown no signs of resentment since. There's also the issue of Rhodes going for the title he's ignored for months, and a title that's been trashed both by booking decisions as well as Reigns' verbal tirade aimed at the legitimacy of the title this past week on SmackDown. Additionally, WWE moving forward with a Rhodes vs Rollins feud could create problems on TV. The fans may audibly turn on the idea of the match, which would make both men, particularly Rollins, look weak as a result. Booking this match also leaves key names, most notably Drew McIntyre, out of the picture. When CM Punk went down with his injury, McIntyre seemed like the most logical person to take Punk's place, but now it looks like this isn't on the horizon. Next up are WWE unifying the world titles. As if the whole story couldn't get even crazier, it now turns out that WWE are throwing around the idea of Cody Rhodes unifying the world titles. PW Insider is reporting some in the company openly talking about the idea of Cody winning the World Heavyweight Championship and then challenging the winner of Roman vs Rock for SummerSlam in a title unification bout so that Cody could finally, we promise this time, finish the story. The idea of unifying a title just after 2 reigns is baffling. It would hardly be a surprise, especially after this weekend, if WWE go down this route. And finally, the reaction backstage. Our final story today examines the reaction backstage to The Rock's comeback and how one talent is letting his voice be heard. Cody Rhodes has ascended to become the face of WWE over the past year, and he remains incredibly well liked in the locker room. Fightful Select offered some insight in how the crew backstage have reacted to The Rock's return. Everyone that we heard back from understood the business implications of running the match, but believed it wasn't a good decision for a long-term WWE business. The Rock vs Roman makes sense several years ago when we were running back Roman and Lesnar repeatedly. It could have made sense this year and Cody won the title last year. This is one of the few years it doesn't make sense in any capacity, one former world champion told Fightful. A source in creative said that many on the team were deflated, and it felt like a decision they'd heard about being made under the previous regime at the expense of helping cultivate new crossover talent. A certain WWE talent are being incredibly open when it comes to their support of Rhodes, as US champion Logan Paul was sharing the support for Rhodes across his Instagram story, and this morning Paul tweeted, "We want Cody." Logan has spoken out time and time again about how much he admires Rhodes, so this is ultimately a genuine reaction from Logan, which is awesome to see. But there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.